We're coming to you again from the Learning Lab at Wexford University, and we're going to start Module 7. So there are a few things that you'll want to understand about this chapter, and that first of all, it's a little different than the prior modules that we've done, where we focused more on sort of the remedial aspects of coaching and making a case for coaching and learning about goals and building rapport. Now we're going to look at ways to develop insight and have a better or deeper understanding of our client. And we're going to really zero in on three particular items: focusing, reflection of meaning, and immediacy. So we'll learn more about what these items mean. But first, let's begin with focus. And when I think about this, I'm reminded of all the times when I teach other courses and we talk about things like time in an exercise physiology course. Well, there's so many different dimensions of what time could mean. The same thing applies for focus. Focus is related to so much, but we're going to run through some of the main things. Some of them you probably already know, but first would be the focus that's required of a competitive athlete or an athlete who is about to partake in an event where they're looking for maybe a personal best or to win and compete. So that sort of athletic focus is just one example. Then we have the type of focus that we would ask a client to zero in on or use if they are trying to maybe go after a particular behavior change or outcome goal. So whatever that theme would be, to focus on the themes of that goal or that work. Then we also have the way to focus on what we call the client's felt experience. There might be times when it's appropriate to reference these experiences in the client's past so that you can get them to remember maybe how they felt at that time. So that's what felt experience means. But we also have immediacy as one of the items that we mentioned we're going to discuss and understand maybe a little bit differently than you might be thinking. Because immediacy doesn't necessarily mean doing something quickly, but more along the lines of being in the moment and in the here and now, okay? So this is a really important component of coaching and must have a component of empathy. And the reason why, or at least one of them, is that when we interact with a client in the moment, if we do things that quickly, sometimes we lack the empathy, and we have to be careful that when we respond to a client in the more immediate sense, that we're being aware of that sympathetic empathy that's required for how we discuss items or things that are important to them with them, all right? So this usually involves the coach's sensitivity to the client's immediate situation. So the client's here and now in the moment situation is something that the coach needs to be sympathetic about. It doesn't mean it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just an awareness of the here and now from the client for the coach to be aware of. So it's nothing more than an understanding of what's happening at the moment. Lastly, we want to look at meaning and the reflection of it. And in your book, it actually refers to this as reflection of meaning. So what does that mean? To me, it's almost two different things. First of all, well, what's the meaning of this particular behavior, action, goal for your client? What would it mean for your client to hit a goal or to work toward a goal and maybe make some changes along the way? So we have to understand the meaning coming from the client. And remember, we'll repeat this later, but humans like to create meaning. Okay, I'll explain what that is later. But we also want to use the skill of reflection as a way to get at the meaning. All right, so what's reflection? Well, if you've ever done any coaching, you may have heard of reflection, and it's a way of summarizing or paraphrasing and kind of compiling things and saying them back to the client. So reflection is definitely an art and a skill for a coach to master. Essentially, through reflection, we want the coach to be able to understand more about the client and their goal. What does it mean to the client to be in their current state? Or what does it mean to the client to work toward a goal? So we have to reflect back to the client what they're telling us, what we're seeing, and what we're observing, all right? This also involves a great coaching skill, curiosity. Curiosity is nothing more than asking questions, but the way that we ask questions shows if we're sincere and if we're showing empathy and sincerity in our feedback and responses to clients. So the curiosity allows us to assess our clients' values. When all is said and done, reflection of meaning should have a useful outcome for the coach in terms of getting at what our clients' goals are and therefore uncovering their true motives. Uncovering a client's motive for making a change is critical to guiding them and supporting them along the way or the processes that you use. So we want to use reflection of meaning to explore our client's mindset, and in doing so it might reveal more about the client and the way that they think about things, their interpretations or their perspectives. We can also learn more about their personality or what their experiences are, their general or felt experiences. We can also uncover their hopes and hopefully their vision for what their changes or outcome goals will be. As I mentioned before, human beings are masters at looking at ways to create meaning. So in other words, when things occur that we don't understand, we sometimes ask, why did we do that? Or why did that happen to me? Or do I even want to do this? These are ways that we're looking for meaning. And so we've mastered this art of creating meaning and needing to have a meaning behind everything that we do. We could say that a client working one-on-one with a coach on changing behaviors or making behavior changes is maybe someone who's had a meaning shift and something has maybe happened in their life to change their perspectives or their interpretations of things. The coach's role in this particular dynamic is to understand where the meaning is coming from in terms of the client's perspective. Where do they get this meaning from? How do they have this attachment? In summary, we want to understand how to use a combination of these skills whereby we focus, we are aware of immediacy and the here and now or the in the moment behaviors. We also want to understand what reflection of meaning means to the coach and the client in ways that it's important for the coach to deploy these particular skills. Next up, we're going to talk about Module 8, which will get even into more detail on coach skills.